So let's see on the zippers. The next one could be also kind of the same, except we shift it down right into the middle of the garment. So whereas I said it could be pockets, most of the time it's the pocket that is right in the middle, so you have the pocket bag behind it. So when you unzip this, you reach into the pocket bag. So for that, we prefer to use the facing to create our, let me just grab the facing. We use the facing to create our opening first, and then we apply the zipper underneath. So let me just draw my lines first, and then I'm gonna bring it up and you can see it. Again, spacing and the pocket opening would be a 1/2 inch. And I believe it's 6 inches. I'll go a little bit. Is it 6 inches? 6 inches is a little bit too long for this one. 5 3/4 this one, and okay, so I just draw a rectangle which is 1/2 inch wide, 5 1/2 inches long. That 5 1/2 inches all depends on the length of the zipper you're going to be using. This is based on the zipper we have here. So that could be changed. And also, if you're using different foot to do it, that width, 1/2 inch width also could change too. It could be narrower, it could be wider. Even if you use the zipper foot, which stitches close, so that even takes all the spacing that tape shows, that goes away as well. So you have to adjust it accordingly. So then you're going to end up with 1/4 inch only. So, but we are basing it on a 1/2 inch opening, and that also has the same slashing and cutting to the corner, which is going to happen after I stitch it. So it is like a welt pocket, I would say. So, but all I do, I stitch all around this, and then I slash it in between. All the way around this. So that's your stitching, which is on top of the facing. I would use the facing on top when I'm stitching this. I'm marking on the facing. And one thing that I need to mention, if your fabric, the base fabric, is kind of a heavier fabric, and you don't want to use the same fabric for the facing, which because it is too heavy and then becomes too bulky, you can always use the lining, or you can use something lighter to face it with. You don't have to use the self fabric if it's too heavy. If it's light enough, yeah, go ahead and use it. I'm just going to cut through this opening, like what we do with the welt pocket, and go to the corners. This way. And you're cutting all the layers, facing and the base fabric. Okay, so now just to control the edges of the facing in here where is attached or stitched into the pocket, I'm just going to understitch and lift the edges up. I'm going to lift the edges up one by one and understitch it here before I flip it. So let's understitch it. So I don't want to go too far. You see that is understitched, but you don't want to go too far. Stay away from the corner. Don't go right to the corner. Just give it a couple of stitches before you get to the corner. I'm going to understitch this one too. Same thing here. I just stay away by couple of stitches. So now what I'll do, I'm just going to flip the whole facing under and pull it from the other side. I can give it a crisp finger press just to make sure that it stays. So that should give you this opening. Okay, that's the facing side, which is the inside of the garment now, and that's the outside. Good. So that is done. Now you can go ahead and place your zippers. Where are my zippers? You can place the zipper on the facing now, this way. Center it and stitch the top and bottoms. With this you have two options. You're either going to stitch it with the top stitching right through the top layer and the facing just to hold the zipper underneath, or you can just go in between the layers and stitch the facing into the zipper only, so you don't have any top stitching around it. I'll do it both ways, one side with top stitching and one side without, so you can see. But in the meantime, I'm just going to stitch the bottom, center the bottom like this. I flip the top layer up so I can expose my triangle underneath and stitch the triangle down. So this way this secures the bottom, and I can do the same thing to the top. So I flip the top layer, hold the zippers underneath, center them, and I stitch this triangle into the zipper. Show it on the, so that way the zippers get attached from top and bottom only. So what I did, I put this in the machine, I flip this up, and I stitch the triangle into the zipper. Okay. And I did the same thing to the bottom. So you flip this up, so your triangle and the facing exposed. The zipper is underneath it. So you stitch that triangle into the zipper. So that secures the top and bottom. So now you have to deal with the side. The side, as I said, you can do one side with the top stitching and the other side stitch from inside, like the triangle part. I can just top stitch this. I can just go even at the bottom. Maintain your spacing. So that side is getting it stitched down with the top stitching that goes through the top layer, facing, and zippers. And the other side, all I need to do, just lift this again so you can see the top layer. I can lift it so my seam and the facing exposed, so I can go right in the ditch and stitch it underneath. So that way we don't see the top stitching on top. So I just want to maintain my spacing. Obviously your zipper foot is going to be sitting right beside the zipper teeth, and it should give you that spacing that you're looking for. I'm going to slide up the slider. So that should give you this.